In the previous episode, Sara found herself by a river, observing other children play. The river was near a forest with a mysterious green line, beyond which lay terrifying legends of a cursed hut inhabited by a woman with long, dark hair. Sara's younger sister Mary was with her, and despite feeling lonely, Sara took care of her. Dean, known for mischief, suggested going into the forest, which excited the other children. Sara, disinterested, remained by the river, feeling increasingly isolated. As the children ventured into the forest, Sara drifted off to sleep and had a strange dream where Mary conversed with a talking tree near the green line. Sara felt uneasy in her dream, sensing danger as Mary approached the green line. A woman with long hair emerged from behind the tree, and despite Mary's pleas, she was taken beyond the green line toward the cursed cabins. Sara, witnessing her sister's abduction, screamed in terror. Sara hadn't fully regained consciousness yet, and her dreams were vivid before her eyes. Although the weather was warm, the poplar trees around the village were trembling. She glanced around. There was no sign of the children, so they were still playing in the woods. Surely Mary was with them too. The sun was still shining in the sky, and Sara guessed she had just had a short nap. This strange dream had scared her. It wasn't like any dream she'd seen before. She quickly got up from her place. There was no time to waste. The responsibility for Mary was on her, and she had to make sure her younger sister was okay. As she left behind the village women, she hurried towards the forest at the fastest pace her feet would allow. As she reached the usual spot where the children played, her heartbeat quickened. Each of the children was huddled in a corner, looking visibly concerned. At first glance, Sara noticed that Dean and Sam were not there, but something else made Sara's legs weaken and her heart sink. There was no news of Mary either. With a voice that wasn't quite her usual, she asked, "Where is Mary?" The children looked at each other, and no one volunteered to answer. Sara screamed, "I asked, where's Mary? What did you guys do with my sister?" One of the boys said, "Mary crossed the green line." Sara's nightmare turned into reality. For a moment she was speechless, but when she could think again, she asked suspiciously, "Where are those two troublemakers? Why aren't they here with you?" Once again, silence fell among them. This time, the children didn't even dare to look into each other's eyes. Sara asked in a calm voice, "How did Mary cross the green line? I know my sister. She would never do such a foolish thing." One of the boys said, "Dean and Sam got together. They took Mary's red scarf and threw it over the line." Dean laughed, saying Mary was too old for dolls. He said it was time to give her something more grown up, like a doll from the haunted house across the forest. Sara felt weak. She had struggled to keep herself on her feet. If she could get her hands on those two, she was ready to burn them alive. The boy said, "Mary cried a little, but none of us thought she would do anything. When we were playing hide and seek, we realized Mary was missing. No matter how much we called her, she didn't respond. We all stopped playing and went to look for her, but there was no sign of her." One of the girls said Mary must have gone to retrieve the red scarf. Sara asked, "How do you know for sure that my sister passed the green line? Perhaps she is somewhere nearby." One of the girls, named Lara, said, "We went close to the green line. We wanted to find her, but when we got there, there was no sign of her." It was here that fear was added to the sound of the Lara. Her body trembled slightly, and with a soft whisper she said, "I don't know if you'll believe me or not, because I always thought the story of the green line was a lie, and the elders were just trying to scare us. They made up these stories so we wouldn't stray too far from the village and into the forest during the war. But we really saw it, Sara. From a distance beyond the green line, we saw a tall woman holding a Mary in her hand, and they were walking away from the line together." Sara didn't mention seeing this scene in her dream. Now she was sure that Mary was alone on the other side of the forest with the tall woman. Sara looked around again and asked with frustration, "Where are those two fools? Where have they hidden?" One of the boys said, "When they realized what they had done, they returned to the village out of fear. I think they're probably at their homes now." Sara clenched her teeth together and said, "I'll deal with them later. Right now I have something more important to take care of." Lara asked, "What do you mean?" Now that Sara was involved in the matter, the children appeared calmer. They had formed a circle around her, waiting in anticipation to see what Sara would do next. Sara said, "Clearly, I want to go look for Mary. I have to bring my sister back." Lara said, "Have you lost your mind? Do you want to get yourself killed by crossing the green line?" Sara said, "I don't want to, but I have to do this. I can't go back home without Mary. My parents will never forgive me for the rest of my life." Lara asked, "How do you plan to bring Mary back? If you go beyond the green line, you'll also get caught, and you won't be able to come back. Then we'll lose 2 friends." Sara said, "I haven't thought about that part yet, but I have to go. Put yourself in my shoes. If your own sister or brother gets into trouble, wouldn't you do everything you could to help them? Of course you would. You wouldn't hesitate to do whatever it takes to keep them safe, right? So please don't try to stop me, I beg you." She shouldn't waste any more time. Sara felt that if she didn't step beyond the green line right now, she might never gather the courage and determination to do so. She really wanted to return to the village and discuss Mary's disappearance with her parents or the village elders, but she was sure they would do everything to prevent her from going beyond the green line, so she had to act on the decision she had made as quickly as possible. "For now, goodbye, everyone. I'll be back with Mary." Sara said this, and before her legs could weaken and she could start running away like the cowards, she began to walk. The children had formed a circle behind her and watched her. No one said anything or tried to dissuade her anymore. As Sara distanced herself enough from the children, she increased her pace. With each passing moment, fear became more pronounced within her, and she felt more anxious than ever before. She didn't want any of the children to see her fear. Therefore, after she was out of their sight, she quickened her steps. A few minutes later, she was there. The green line cut through the middle of the forest, clearly discernible. Its beginning and end were not visible, but it seemed to stretch from west to east until the edge of the forest. Sara's worried gaze remained fixed on a line that had warned her for 13 years never to cross under any circumstances. In a moment, all the myths and traditional stories came to her mind. How relevant they seemed in these real circumstances. Sara glanced towards the other side of the forest. The forest continued in its natural state for a few meters, then began to thin out. This was probably where the children had seen her sister with a woman. The final thought struck her like an arrow to the heart. She had to find Mary no matter what the cost. Sara took a deep breath. She closed her eyes and she stepped beyond the green line.
In the next episode, Sara bravely explores the forest and finds a strange cabin, hoping to find her sister there.